Hello. So I decided to film you a tutorial because I know that my computer was not working for our Zoom workshop. So let's dive right into the samples and the shadow kit that you were able to receive from me before this workshop. I've got some extra things. Sorry if you can hear my kids screaming. Okay, so a couple of samples would be done before this point. I've already done my skincare, and so if you see there is a climate control sample, now you'll want to kind of squish that around, kind of like mix it up within the sample itself before you open it, and then you would take about a pea size and apply it all over your face to a cleansed face. So you want to make sure you have no makeup on, your face is clean. You're going to apply the climate control. That is a global bestseller anti-aging moisturizer. It's incredible. I notice a huge difference when I use it regularly versus not in my skin texture. It's amazing. You're going to absolutely love it. So start there. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the lip balm and lip scrub samples. So if you received, like, this is the Merry and Bright collection, and then I've got a few more of these Naughty and Nice collections. It comes with the red lip and then kind of a clear gloss. It's a little bit iridescent, and then it's got two mini shadows as well, Sugar Shimmer, and then I think it's Spice, Sugar and Spice, for the shadows. So before you start any Lipsense, I always recommend for a few days beforehand trying out the lip balm and the lip scrub, and you use very, very little. So this is like the tiniest amount from an actual tube, so you're going to grab very little out of it. And I start and I just rub it all around. Gosh, this always smells so good. It smells like cupcakes, like vanilla cupcakes. So you can just take a washcloth to wipe this off. This is going to gently exfoliate your lips. It's got little round beads in it, and it's round so that it doesn't tear your lips, because our lip skin is very, very fragile. It's very sensitive. And we do want to exfoliate because the way that Lipsense will lay is going to be so much better. And you will notice that your lips go through an exfoliating process just using Lipsense too. So it kind of speeds up that process. You don't have like that longer process. I'm just going to wipe it in my shirt just because I don't have a washcloth. And this brown print needs to get washed anyways because I was sitting along the shoreline of the river when we were fishing, and it's all wet and dirty, so it needs to get washed anyways. I'm not too worried about it. My lips are clean and dry. I am not going to put on lip balm because I'm going to apply the Lipsense and show you how. So make sure that you don't apply Lipsense or lip balm yet. I would do that a couple days leading up to when you first try it, or when you take off your Lipsense, which anything oil-based will take it off. So if you bought one of these, you're not going to have a remover. I can get you a remover for $10 and it's going to last you years. It's very easy to correct mistakes when you have a remover, and it's nice to have, but it's not required. So if you have like coconut oil or something like that, you can take off the Lipsense at the end of the day. I just don't want you scrubbing and rubbing your lips to get that color off. But I also have lip volumizer and what's left of my watermelon lip mask that I had on earlier today. These crows, I tell you, they're loud. But I'm not going to put that on because I am going to put on the Lipsense. I can show it to you. So let's start off. So now that you've got climate control on your face, okay, very, very little soaked in. Ideally, you would follow up with like a daytime, a lightweight moisturizer. And I can help you find out your skin type and send you skincare samples for the basics. So it'd be the 3-in-1 cleanser, the daytime and the evening moisturizer as well. And we can figure out your skincare system that would be right for your skin type. And I could send you samples where you can try those out and just kind of test it out and see ahead of time. I would definitely send you another climate control because I do think that that whole system works the best together. I've had the healthiest skin I've ever had because of it. And that's my core. That is my core skincare routine, is climate control. I have added Sea Bright since then as my core because the vitamin C has just done amazing things for my skin as well. But that's a new product. So that's a very recent addition into my core skincare. So let's hop right in. I want you to start with climate control, and then I sent you a tinted moisturizer. You're going to want to cut just the corner of that sample because very little is going to be used. You're going to have at least 3 applications, and so I have a tester tube. You're going to take it with your finger and you're just going to put little dots kind of all around. I'm just not getting as much as if I were to get it out of the sample pack. You're just going to put very little. Start out with less because you can always grab more. And I'm just going to, like I said, there's very little coming off this tube. And the thing that I love about both our tinted moisturizer and our foundation is it's like a second skin. It's very, very lightweight. The tinted moisturizer though has a little bit of green concealer in it, so it's got that red canceling already built in. It's going to protect your skin from the sun. It's equivalent to 15 SPF. So when you layer it with our daytime moisturizer also has that effect. So you automatically have, which everyone should be putting that daytime moisturizer on, right? You'll be having the equivalent of 15 SPF. I do like to wait about 10 minutes after I've done my skincare. And normally I do my Silk primer, which I may or may not have been able to include. I know I ran out of those samples, so I need to order more. But I like to apply it with my hand if I'm in a hurry. You don't get as good a coverage when you apply with your hand. You can always, I wanted to do it with my hand because I didn't know if you guys had any brushes on hand, but I like to take a flat, kind of firmer brush, and I will stipple. So this is a stippling motion, and you can use this to stipple your tinted moisturizer and you're going to get a lot more fuller coverage. You can also take a beauty sponge. So I don't have one to show you, but one of those sponges, you can run it under water and it's going to get bigger, so I just keep on squeezing it and letting it soak up the water. I just keep squeezing it till it gets big, and then I squeeze out and wring out all the excess water so it's just damp. Now a beauty sponge is going to be perfect if you have drier skin, if you experience any flakiness in your skin. So beforehand you're going to want to exfoliate. If you need a good recommendation on a facial exfoliator, I can get you one. It's my favorite. But if you have oilier skin, a brush is going to be your best friend, and it's going to create an airbrush filter-like finish because all of these little bristles are going to create micro dots, and it's all non-pore clogging. All of the makeup and skincare does not clog pores, so you're going to have a clean, fresh face. You just have to make sure to maintain the cleanliness of your brushes because obviously they can harbor bacteria. So oftentimes I'm on the go, I'm using my hands. So that's what I wanted to show you, and just in case you didn't have it. So I'm going to show you with these 3 colors. This came in the Holiday Mini Glam collection. This is actually what the Shadowsense workshop was built around. So I'm going to show you with these 3 colors, but I am going to touch on the 2 other mini collections that I have, because I know some of you grabbed them as well. And that's what we're going to borrow the Lipsense from as well. So starting out, we have this rose gold one. It's Rose Glam Shimmer. Then we have Celebrate Shimmer. And then I think this is Hot Cocoa. Or Hot Chocolate. Maybe it's Hot Chocolate. And I'm going to show you my favorite things to do with it. I'm actually going to borrow my watermelon lip mask. I'm going to take the bottom of it just because the top of it has a sticker and I don't want to use it. And let's start out with this rose gold color. Now you can apply it a couple different ways. What I prefer to do is I prefer to apply it directly to my lid. Also, if you see that your tinted moisturizer is creased, just rub it out. If it doesn't dry to a powder yet, it can settle. So while it's setting to a powder, because it's all cream to powder, once it's setting, you can like rub it out and it's fine. But I like to apply directly to the lid. I don't have hardly any product on this at all. In fact, I'm going to go in and grab more. So with yours being brand new, you're going to have more product on there. I would just swipe it off. And then I gave you guys a 5-piece brush set to go along with this. You can grab any brush, really, that's going to be a little bit more on the fluffy side. And you're going to use this windshield wiper motion. When you do a windshield wiper motion, it's blending it so it's becoming lighter. It's not going to be super pigmented. It's blending it out, and it's going to be lighter. I'm also holding my brush towards the end here, so I'm applying a lot lighter pressure. So again, my color is becoming super, super light. See how very, very light that is? It's almost not there. And I'm going to show you, let me see if I can scrape some of this so I get a little bit more. It's way down there. All right, I want to show you the difference. So if I apply this here, I'm applying a little bit more. If I have my brush or my fingers way close to the edge of the brush here, and even if I try to do the windshield motion, it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna blend out lightly, which is fine because I do like this. And so you're gonna be able to play around with it. I use my medium color, my light to medium color. I don't do a dark color for this, but kind of more of that medium on the lighter side. And I do go all throughout the lid. And then do you see where my eye crease is here and folds under? And this is my brow bone. I try to go just above the brow bone so I have some of that color there. Now you're gonna wanna play around with this a couple of different times. We can always hop on a one-on-one video call because your unique eye shape is something that you're gonna have to play around with in where you wanna place it, how you wanna go up, all of that. So the other way that you can apply this is, see how I left my excess on the end of the wand here? I can come and grab and dip my brush into this and kind of control how much I grab. So I did grab a good chunk because I want to match the other side. So then you can come in here and apply it to where you want it. I love the doe foot applicator because it's nice and soft, but see how I'm really close up to the edge of my brush with my hand? My hand is not way out. It's because I want it to be darker. See how much darker when I'm coming up on here versus here I was doing that sweeping motion from quite a distance. So now if I want that to be swept and I want it to be lighter, I'm bringing my hand out and I'm doing that windshield washer motion. So like that. Now I am going to try and even that out. I prefer to apply it with the doe foot applicator. And wherever you place your color, if you're going to place it directly to your lid, that is where it's going to be deepest, generally speaking. So you might want to watch me do this a few times before you just go through and pause. That way you can learn some of these techniques, and that is totally fine. So I always start with my medium color and I apply it all over. So now we've got that nice shimmer. Shimmer has been long misjudged. It is something that looks great on everyone of all ages. It does not make you look older. In fact, when it is on your lid like this, it opens your eyes and brightens them. So that is a wonderful thing, especially as we age. And then under here, as we're getting wrinkles and fine lines, I don't know if you can see in this lighting how I have those underneath here. And then obviously I've got my crow's feet as well, which is hard to see when I'm like, depending on the way I'm looking. But I can see them now, especially the way I'm facing. So we want a medium matte color. You can take a darker color if you wanted to, but when you do that and you kind of like smoke it out, it causes an optical illusion where you don't see those. So I don't want to bring a highlight color under there. I'll show you how I do this. So then we're going to take Celebrate Shimmer. This is our highlight color. It's light. It's the lightest one. It is a shimmer. Celebrate Shimmer is very pretty. It's very light, especially after it blends out. So I just take that doe foot applicator and I literally just pop it in the middle. And then because I had my eyes shut when I did it, I got a little bit on the bottom and a little bit on top. So I'm going to show you how I blend that out You should have a flatter brush in here. It's not gonna look like this one, obviously, but you should have a flatter brush in there that looks similar, where it's like flat and dense. This is the one I like to use for this because I can bring it just underneath and I just blend it out a little bit just to make it smooth out, and then I just melt it in with the other colors. So how you see like it's on the more silvery level, but you can't see a huge transition. Ooh, kids are in trouble. All right, so again, doe foot applicator. If you don't feel comfortable with the doe foot applicator, let me show you how you can do it with the flat brush. If you don't want to put it directly to your eye, so I just scraped off what was on the end there, and I am just going to relax my eye and put it right there in the corner, and then I'm going to bring it into that inner corner here, a little bit more on the bridge of my nose, and then with the color being upright, I'm just going to blend a little bit down there, and then we're going to let that sit because I want to get the most of this color up here. So because I'm using a flat brush, a lot of this color is staying instead of blending out. You can use less if you like the rose gold to be your primary lid color. So now I'm coming back through and I'm just blending this out. It's a lot easier if you're looking in a mirror, so I recommend doing that versus what I'm doing here. So I'm just grabbing a little bit more, and I'm just gonna match this side. So we're just going to, there we go. So you can see how that picks up the lighting a little bit more. It's gonna brighten the colors. Now we're going to take our contour color. By the way, I'm gonna show you how you can mix Rose Glam and this hot chocolate to make the most beautiful blush color. It's amazing. And then depending on the color of your hair, you can use this hot chocolate to fill in your brows, and I will also show you how to do that. And then if you have like a deeper skin tone, you can even use it to contour. But I'm going to show you first how to finish this eye look. I mean, you could do mascara and this could be your eyeshadow look if you wanted, because we did deepen that Rose Glam and we brought it up a little higher, which I love to do. But this could be a very simple eyeshadow look. You could just wear one of these colors and it's good to go. But when you bring the dimension and you bring the shadowing of the hot chocolate, it's a beautiful brown. If you have the Merry and Bright collection, you've got Blissful, which is actually, I mean, I love this brown. It's a little bit softer if you look at them together. It's a little bit softer. Blissful, and I think Blissful blends just, I don't know if it's something to do with the colors it matched with. But instead of Rose Glam Shimmer, if you wanted to try Brilliant Shimmer, which is a little bit on the lighter side, I mean, these two together make a gorgeous eyeshadow look. So where I did the Rose Glam, you could do Blissful as the brown, and then where I did Celebrate Shimmer, you could do Brilliant Shimmer. It's gorgeous. I love to do that. And then the same thing with the Naughty and Nice bundle with the red lip. These are the shadow colors that come with it, Sugar and Spice, and the dark brown Spice was one of my favorites to do my brows personally, because I've got very dark brown hair. The Spice is like perfect. And I just love these colors. They're beautiful. So I will say you can practice which way works for you best. I, a lot of times, will start with my darker color. So what I'm doing right now is I'm putting it on my lower lash line. I'm drawing it on with the wand, and then I bring it up a little bit. I'm just kind of following where I already put that shadow, and then I'm just gonna kind of pull it in almost like I'm doing a winged liner, but I'm not. And I'm going to take another, I'm going to use the same brush I used for the Rose Glam to make it simple, and I look up and I smoke it out. You don't have to do this, but I do think a little touch on the bottom line, like lining it. So I'm looking up and I'm keeping my brush like vertical, so I'm not poking myself in the eye. It's just going up along that lower lash line. You can see how I'm doing that. It just blended it out just a little bit. And so what I like to do is, I waited a little bit too long, so make sure you know these products do set to powder. I'm just gonna need a little bit more pressure, so I'm gonna come up close to it, and I'm going to start by brushing it down into my lash line. So I actually brush from here going down into the lash line, and I brush at that same angle that I did it at. So it's not gonna look bad because where I placed it, I did it like a winged liner. So now I want to show you again. I'm just gonna place the exact same, but we're gonna get to it right away so that it blends. So I blend down into the lash line, and then I like to tap. So do you see how that kind of like made it filtered? So I like to tap, and I tap along that brow bone, kind of the crease line. I go a little bit above, and I tap it. When you tap it, it's gonna maintain that intensity. See how dark that is? It's very intense. So now I'm gonna do the windshield washer along the crease, which is where it folds, but I'm going a little bit above it. Just like that. And the windshield washer motion and having my hand out towards the edge are all working to soften that edge of that color. And I mean, that looks very good. It's very blended out. I like to keep a more crisp line on the outside so I don't mess with that too much. I think it looks nice and clean automatically without being like the taped look, where I like a softened crisp line, if that makes sense. So we can do that, or I'll show you how to do it softer on this side where it's a lighter brown. We're still using the same color, but we're going to make it look lighter, because this blends out very, very, very nicely. So this time I'm only going to put a small dot. Now remember, this goes from cream to powder. Oops. So I do want to get to it right away. That's why I'm only doing one eye at a time. I'm still using the same technique of brushing down, but I used less. Okay, so I used less. I'm slowly bringing my brush up further, and then we're going to do the same windshield washer motion, but it's lighter, so it's a lot less intense. As you can see, this one's a lot deeper. I do have some product left from the other eye too, so that's going to make it a little bit darker. So we're still going down at an angle, and then I went up and I did windshield washer motion. So again, you can still see it when I open my eyes because I went above that crease line. It's not hidden in that fold. We don't want that. Otherwise, what's the point of putting anything there? So we went a little bit higher, and we just blended it out with less and less pressure. If we wanted it lighter yet, we would just do less pressure. The other thing is, if you're having a hard time and you're getting too much product, what you can do is take, like, if you get a tinted moisturizer or a climate control, the full-size bottles, you can use the top of the flat cap, which works really nicely. Hi, little miss. She's knocking. I'm going to make the other side match. So if you want to see the way I made it deeper last time, I just go along the lash line, and then I go straight out, almost like I'm trying to connect to my brow. And then I make a little triangle, like a little winged liner, which you can use these shadows for eyeliners. In your 5-pack brush set that you received, there's also an eyeliner brush. So again, I just smoked out the bottom, and then we're gonna go downward motion, and because it's had some time to set, I am a little bit firmer up towards the neck of the brush. That way I can blend it a little bit easier. You can also use, if you get the Senegence brush set, this is one of my favorites for the outer corner. This is the biggest brush that they have for your eyes. Obviously it comes with the full face brush set as well. This is one of my favorites because it's so dense that I can really get in there, and it just, I mean, look at that. Just that little bit of pressure, even though it sat for quite some time, it blended out that harsh line. I'm able to do the windshield washer motion. I usually use this as my clean brush at the end That way I can clean up the edges. I don't like to put a ton of product on it because it is bigger and I have more control with the smaller brushes. So I like to use this as my clean brush that I use to soften the blends and everything. So after that, we're going to finish this with mascara. Do not judge your eyeshadow look until after you've completed with mascara because it makes a huge difference. And then we'll get into some brow tips as well as lips. We'll just make this one nice organized tutorial for you. So I'm starting with the 3-in-1 Lash Primer. This is going to condition your lashes. This helps strengthen your lashes as well, so you're not getting premature fallout. It is actually going to strengthen the follicles, which is very amazing. I love using it, especially when I have my waterproof mascara. So you're just going to coat the lashes. With it being this beige color, you're also going to be able to make sure that you're thoroughly coating all your lashes with mascara, which contributes to the fullness when you're done. And then this has Capixyl in it, as well as our mascaras, which grow your lashes. If you are experiencing any bareness in your brows as well, what I've been using, so you can use Shadowsense, and I will show you how to use Shadowsense as well. But this brow building cream has Capixyl in it as well. So that's what I've been using. I've experienced more fullness in my brows because of it. So you just apply the 3-in-1 Lash Primer like you would a mascara. I do let it dry for a little bit before applying. And then here's a tip. Any brand mascara will work. This will work for it. Is you want to warm up your mascara because it's going to kind of soften and just create a smoother application for you. So we have waterproof and we have non-waterproof. I love layering the two. So this is the one for our non-waterproof. It's just in a solid gold tube. And this is just humidity resistant. I get ridiculously full lashes when I layer the two. And it's become my favorite application method, but I'm going to show you waterproof. And so you can layer these. This waterproof is a thinner consistency, which is perfect for applying a clump-free, flake-free finish. And my goodness, I wish I had a mirror. Doing this looking into a phone is not easy. And so you can do up to 3 layers. You can technically do more than 3 layers, but for sure 3 layers without it clumping. What I like to do is I like to roll in towards the base of my lashes. That is where you want to start. And both formulas of the mascara is going to help lengthen, separate, curl, and strengthen your lashes. So that's one coat. I count one coat as if you haven't had to dip it a second time, because you're not really adding any extra product. You're just making sure that you're thoroughly coating. So every single time I've blinked through, I am just making sure that we've had full coverage. We've coated every lash. And if you need to, don't be afraid to tip the wand vertical and get closer to the edge of your, or base of your lashes. I'm actually really excited because we are going to do a fun lash themed event coming up and focus on our amazing mascaras, but also our false lashes that you apply on the underside. And they look so natural. They're very nice, especially when I'm busy and I'm like have weddings coming up. But we want to hurry this up because I don't want to take too much of your time. And don't forget to message me with any questions. I'm just going to do 2 coats today. We'll make the second coat a lot quicker. When you are applying to your bottom lashes, which is not mandatory, I like to just shimmy it a little bit. And I just feel like it completes that look. So you'll notice I didn't apply any eyeliner to my bottom waterline. And the reason why I do that is because my eyes are already pretty small. If I had really wide open, big round eyes instead of the smaller almond shaped eyes, I could get away with that and I would like it a lot more. But I try to stay with softer colors because it's more youthful, it's a lot more flattering. It tends to blur those fine lines and wrinkles, but also, as you can see, it completes the look, but because it's on the lower lash line and not the waterline, it opens up my eyes. So it creates this cohesive connection look. My eyes are fuller, but I'm not closing that off with a harsh line right below my eyes. So that is the eyes. Now we're going to take that same dark medium, not really that dark, brown, and I am just going to roll some of it onto the bottom of my watermelon lip mask. And then I'm going to take the same amount, maybe a little bit more, you can play around with it based on what you like, and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to put it right next to the brown, right next to it. Might grab a little bit more, we'll do twice as much maybe. Not even. Less than twice as much. I want to make sure I don't get any of the brown back inside of my Rose Glam Shimmer. Don't want to do that. So this is where we get to mix and make a blush, and this is really fun. I'm going to use the back of my brush, one of my smaller brushes, and we are just going to mix. So hopefully you can see this okay. I'm going to grab this color and we're going to mix. Mix, 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 mix. And it is going to look on the brown side. But I promise you, even brown blushes can look really pretty. So I'm just going to thoroughly mix it. So we got all that pink shimmer in there. If you want to add a little bit more pink, you can. But I'm going to show you something that I like to do. And this is a lot easier with our full-size shadows. So I know you're starting with a mini. This is easier with the full-size shadows just because you do get more product off the wand every single time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to just tap a couple times, pick up product, just like that. And when you apply blush, you want to start right here. That's where you want it darkest, is right on the top of this cheekbone right here, closest to your temple, like right in this little 1-inch, 1.5 inch section. And then we blend into your hairline a little bit up, and then we start to work our way down. So I'm just going to tap it right in here. So I don't have a lot of product on my hand at all. And this is so much easier with a blush brush, but because I don't have a lot of product, I am just going to kind of massage it in because we don't have a lot of blending ability and we don't want to pull too hard on our skin. So I'm just going to kind of massage that into that tinted moisturizer. So again, I'm just being careful about placement. I wanted a little bit more pigment on the top of my cheekbone, so I went in with my ring finger right there and I blended that in. Is that not just a beautiful blush? And I mean, it's pretty brown looking. We can always add a little bit more Rose Glam if we wanted. You could go straight Rose Glam and you'd have a nice cheek highlight as well. So again, we're starting there. I massage it in. I did not mean to touch the side of my eye there. Massage that in, go down into your hairline and bring it forward. I try to stay on the top side of this, and then as I massage, I kind of massage out to the side. See that? So I'm massaging back. Now if you have a blush brush, you want to use one that is made for cream products. You can use your foundation brush. Again, if you get the Shadowsense brush set, let me know if you want it. It comes in this little clutch. And it's 10 pieces, so you would get your foundation brush, but you would also get, you'd get a powder blush brush, which is my favorite. I've had people just buy that because it is awesome. Let me find it. I've got 2 of these clutches here. So you've got a couple of different brushes that you're gonna get. This is one of my favorites for when I'm doing my eye cream, my eye illuminators more specifically, because the eye illuminator has the pearlizer foundation and it's the shimmery foundation. So I like to use that as an inner corner highlight, and this is perfect for this. So I'll do that. But but this one I like to use for contour and blush. So you see how like dense it is? It's not a blush brush for powder, but it works really great for this. So if I dip it like this, I can pick up just the tiniest bit of pigment and I can control it, and I can start there and then I can just blend. See that? And it's nice and soft, and it creates this nice soft line, and we can just bring it to our cheekbones there. This is starting to dry, so I'm not actually picking up a whole lot. So I start there. We can blend into our hairline and then out. And it's just a really pretty blush. And then if you make any mistakes, take your tinted moisturizer, and you can always make cat whiskers. No, I'm kidding. That's what it kind of looked like. That's what it reminded me of. So don't be afraid to take that and just blend it back and kind of just massage the sides in, because tinted moisturizer is a sheer coverage. You can always clean up your mistakes. And that's the same thing with Shadowsense on your eyes. That's why a lot of times I say I like to start with the dark color first. I'll place it. I usually start with my medium color or my dark color. It's kind of a toss-up for me. But if you start with your dark color, you can always bring your lighter color back out. And you can always start with your medium color and then reapply it over top the dark color and just blend it and soften it as well. So play around with that. I mean, you can mix it around. Now let's hop into the Merry and Bright. Oh, I haven't done my brows. I think I'll do that with the Spice Brown. Blissful's too light. These two would make a gorgeous blush as well. Oops, not those. These. These are the shadows. These would make a gorgeous blush as well. This is a little bit of a lighter pink. This is Brilliant Shimmer. In this case, I will just use it only as a highlight. So again, you can apply it directly to your face, and then I massage it in to the cheekbone. Keep it at the top. It's very gorgeous. I mean, look at that. And it's just a nice subtle hint of color. It's such a light pink though that it wouldn't work very good as a blush, just straight up as a blush. I do have some shadow recommendations if you want a good shadow as a blush that would look good as an all-around color. So this would make a good highlight. Same thing with the Rose Glam Shimmer. That's why I like to mix it with the brown, because it just deepens it a little bit more into like a rosy brown. But that's not everyone's jam. Blissful, I am definitely light enough where I could use it to contour. I do a teeny tiny line below my cheekbone at an angle, and then I've already used this for blush, so I don't mind using this for contour as well. And then I blend into the hairline and up into the cheekbone. So you can see how that blended out so nicely. So I blend into that hairline and up into the cheekbone to create that nice shadow. So if you wanted to practice around with contouring, don't be afraid of it. I use very little, again, right at that hairline, kind of at the top of my ear, and I go down a little bit, and then I blend back into the hairline and then up into my cheekbone after I've started that blend. And it's just going to define that shadow, and I go into a tiny little circular motion, so I'm keeping it right there. See that? Voila. Okay. Just figured I'd show some of the colors. Hot chocolate might be a little bit on the darker side, unless you do have a much deeper skin tone. But, I mean, I've had people just use less product, and they were just fine with using it. So let's get into, should we do lips? I feel like we should do lips. We'll do lips, and then we'll do brows. Just in case you don't like to fill in brows, then you can skip the end of this video. So I'm just making sure my lips are dry. You want them to be clean and dry. You don't want any tinted moisturizer, no powder. I don't have a washcloth. And then you're gonna want to shake your Lipsense. So these mini ones don't have a little ball in them, but you still want to shake it to the best of your ability. This one opens a lot harder than our full size as well, just because it was their first time making the teeny tiny sample sizes of them, but it should still last you a long time. So I wipe off the excess so I don't have much product on it, okay? 3 thin layers. It's suspended in cosmetic grade alcohol. It's going to keep a bacteria-free environment. That's why it lasts up to 12 months after being opened, even though I've had people have it for like 5 or 7 years. It's been insane. Now, when you are applying this, I left some of my to moisturizer. That's funny. When you're applying this, you want to go in one swipe. So you don't want to go back over it because it is suspended in cosmetic grade alcohol. Think of like expo markers. You don't want it to erase itself. So what I like to do is I like to start in the middle, and then I like to line one side, and then I like to line the other side, and then I fill it in. So we aren't going to close our lips either. So I might talk a little weird, so I'm lining. Again, this is so much easier when you have a mirror to look in. And then where I swiped off the excess is just where I'm picking up a little bit more. Still swiping at the end. Okay, so now I lined it. And then I have to go back and get the inside of my lip. The drier your lips are, the cleaner they are. And then the thinner your layers, the longer your Lipsense is going to last you. And it will last 4 to 18 hours. I've only met one person that could not handle the like long-term wear, and there's just something unique about her pH. I've had people wear it for 36 hours and it's just been insane. So I'm a Flying Mary. Once I've had it lined, it goes a lot quicker. Okay, so that's 2 layers. We want 3 thin layers. It does get tacky in between, and that is why we seal it with a gloss. Now the gloss, you can gloss all day long. You can wear the gloss on your own. And my lips don't tingle at all because my lips have been very healed from long-term use of not only Lipsense but also our lip balm. The lip volumizer hydrates intensely, as well as like the lip scrub and the watermelon lip mask. So then, now that this is dry, we're gonna apply the gloss. And now I can talk normal. Okay, so I like to apply to both top and bottom for my first time because I want to ensure that it's sealed. So now, I mean, the tip of my gloss is clean. I didn't get any Lipsense on it. If you do, it's just because you didn't let that layer dry enough. Maybe you didn't do a thin enough layer, so then it took too long to dry. That's all things that you're going to get better at through application. I want to make sure I got all my stuff in the right collections. So with Lipsense, once you have your starter kit, you've got your gloss and you've got your lip color, you can now buy colors and glosses individually, unless they come as a set, then obviously. So like with this Naughty and Nice, I didn't apply this today. I wanted to apply the Mary. I like it. It's very pretty. It's a very neutral everyday color. But now that I have Naughty, I mean, I could apply this red lippy and I could mix it with the Mary to get a lighter red, or maybe do 1 layer of this and get a little bit more of a bold pink color. So the layering is endless. Now you can play around. You've got a mini gloss. You can just get different colors to layer it. Because you do 3 thin layers, you can do 3 thin layers of all different colors. You can also pre-mix them before you even apply them. I have the little like tattoo rings that if you ever want to mix colors, let me know and I'll send that with your next lip color. And you can actually, just how we did on the back of here, it was just a little dish that goes on your little finger as a ring, and you can put that product in there ahead of time and pre-mix it and make literally endless Lipsense babies. So that is the end of that. We are going to now, I will do the brow cream just because this deep brown is literally my perfect color, but it's the same thing as Shadow. It's not the same. The formula is a little different. Shadow does not have Capixyl in it, but the application technique is the same. So if you fill in your brows, I'm going to give you some mapping tips and tricks. So this is the eyebrow brush. You'll have one similar. It might not have the spoolie on the end. Obviously this is the Senegence one, so it is double-ended. When you are trying to map out your brow shape, I go from the inside of my nostril and I go straight up, and that is where I want my brow to start. You can see I have some very teeny tiny hairs there. When I'm looking for where my arch should be, I stay right here to the inner nostril, and I'm gonna go right through my pupil when I'm looking straight on. So my arch needs to be right here. And that is where my natural arch is. It's just very, very light. Same thing when I'm looking for where the tail should end. I'm going to the outside corner of my eye and nostril, and we're just lining that up. So right there is where the end should be, and there is a teeny tiny amount of hair right there as well. So that is basic tips for brow mapping. It might look a little bit different. You might not have that shape at all going on for your eyebrows right now, and that's okay. If you prefer to just fill in where your natural brows are, that's totally fine too. Not everyone needs to have the same brow shape, but if you're looking to reshape your brows because they do frame your face and maybe you don't like where your natural brows lay, that's a really good starting point that's going to look good, you know, ratio wise for your face shape. And so I just dabbed the teeniest amount to this brush, and I start at the bottom and towards the middle. So the bottom of my brow, I'm going to go up into that crease or arch area, and I'm going to go up into that because this is where the darkest part of your brow should be. And I'm going to do the same thing on the top. I'm just going to line to where the arch should be. I'm applying very little pressure. Now I'm going to just go down. I am following my natural brow shape because my natural brow shape does follow, you know, this whole guideline. And so I'm just lightly filling it in. And then where I need more product, I'm just applying a little bit more pressure. I'm using a very light hand, and I've done this many times, which is why I can just look into the camera and do this. But if this is your first half dozen times and you've never done this before, I definitely recommend a mirror and then just trying it before bed. So now that we have this line, I still have just a little bit of residual. I'm going to follow that bottom line, and I'm just doing a little bit of pressure, and I'm going through that. And now I'm going to change directions. So this whole time I've been applying it like this. Okay, so my brush has been like flat. Ooh, I got some damage from the way I stored that. So now I'm going to go straight up, and I'm going to create little hair-like strokes with the little bit of product I have on. Okay, now I am not making actual hair strokes. This product just fills in where it's bare. It's kind of tinting the skin underneath. It's meant to go under your brow hairs and cling to that skin because this is waterproof. We're not caking it into our hairs or tinting the hairs. We're actually tinting the skin underneath, which I love. Whereas shadow kind of sits on top, so you can use shadow for the same exact method. And I just brush it out. But it looks, this side looks so much better just having my brows a little bit more touched up than this side. Where my brows over here, we kind of lose that framing because it is so light over here. So I'll brush the hair up, and then I guess brush it down a little bit just so it's not going up in the corners there. So again, I brush off the tiniest little bit off of this doe foot applicator. I started on the bottom where my hairs naturally are, and then I start on the top just below where the hairs are, just below the roots, and I go up into that arch. I got some wild ones, so we're going to brush that down a little bit, and we're going to go down to where my brow should end, and then I'm just going to fill that in. We're just kind of connecting dots here. Again, brush it down if we have some wild ones. Obviously I'm not plucking my brows right now. And then just filling that in, a little bit lighter pressure as I go towards the front. We want this front to be lighter. And then I turn my brush so I can go up and create almost like a hair-like brush stroke with very light pressure as we fill that in. And then it's honestly just practice. I have plenty of failure pictures that I went live and I thought I was doing a great job. It is honestly practice. But this color it's just a neutral brown, so I don't have any warm pull, even though I have warm like red highlights in my hair. I don't want my eyebrows looking reddish. So that's the perfect shade for me. Otherwise, I really like Spice. If you are blonde, you might be able to get away with Blissful. That is still probably on the dark side, but again, I do want to show you on the back of my hand. Blissful has a little bit more of a warmer hue. I mean, this would make a great blush by itself because it does kind of have a rosy hue to it. My nose is watering. But look how nice and light it blends out. So, I mean, you could use that to tint a blonde brow because blonde brows tend to be on the darker side anyways. But it's honestly, I mean, that's something to test and just play around with. It can't hurt. I mean, the worst that comes from it is you're going to wash it off before bed. Again, I'd probably play with it before bed just because you are testing out something new. But it creates a really nice soft glam look. And I'm trying to think if I missed anything for you. I think that is it. Let me know if you have any questions. I did want to film this for you before I went to bed tonight because I felt so bad that my computer crashed and we missed our Zoom. But we can always hop on a one-on-one video chat. But I wanted something that was recorded special for you that I could send to all of my workshop participants. And I hope it works next time. But I appreciate you so much, and I hope that you love your new colors and you can play around with it, and we can work with getting you comfortable applying it to yourself. But I'll hope you all have a good evening. Bye guys.